I'm Bruce Marshall. This is the Brampton Now update for the Thanksgiving weekend 2020. This is a succinct once-a-week hotshot of everything important that has happened in Brampton the previous week and what's coming up. Brampton, unbought and unbiased. Coming up in a dramatic move on Friday, Premier Ford moved Peel, Toronto, and Ottawa back to a modified Stage 2. Mayor Brown with some words for the frontline workers who bear the brunt of much of COVID exposure. And my Marshall Rant, second wave. What next? Details on that and more coming up on this Brampton Now update. The top stories this week in Brampton. Peel's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Lawrence Loh, was adamant at the city's news conference on Wednesday.
I'm also asking everyone to reduce your in-person contacts. Please limit your close contacts to those that are in your immediate household and essential supports only.
Then the province dropped this not unexpected bombshell on Friday. Peel Region, along with Toronto and Ottawa, are heading back to a modified Stage 2. Premier Ford.
Hospitalizations and the number of people in intensive care have increased by 250%. If current trends continue, Ontario ICU intensive care units admissions are predicted to more than triple in less than 30 days. Our hospitals will be overwhelmed, and we can't let this happen. So I convened my cabinet this morning to review the new recommendations from our health experts. The health officials have made a number of recommendations, and we've accepted all of them. We're implementing new public health measures for Toronto, Ottawa, and Peel Region. Restaurants and bars will be closed for indoor dining. Takeout delivery and outdoor dining will continue. Indoor gyms and fitness centers will be closed. Outdoor services and fitness centers will be permitted. Cinemas, theaters, casinos, racing establishments, museums, galleries, and attractions will all be closed in these communities.
The Premier also spoke of the collaboration going on with the federal government.
I was working through the night with the Deputy Prime Minister. They understand how serious this situation is. And the package of supports that they announced earlier today will make a big difference. They're extending the rent subsidy, the wage subsidy, and business loans. And for our part, we're ready to do whatever it takes. We won't spare any expense to keep you going right now. We won't spare any expense to support you through this. That's why I've directed my finance minister to make $300 million available to support affected businesses.
The feds have announced extended help for Canadian workers and businesses, as well as more money to food banks and programs. The Prime Minister announced an additional investment of $100 million through the Emergency Food Security Fund, which will be welcome news to people at places like Regen in Brampton, who do hot food and a food bank, Knight's Table and Siva Food Bank with their wonderful mobile Langer. In a moment, there's been a lot of finger-pointing at some cities with respect to why and how this has spread again. Certainly, parties and illegal casinos and mansions don't help. But Mayor Patrick Brown suggests that many essential workers who expose themselves to greater danger either live or work or both in Brampton. Ahead on Brampton Now Update. This is the Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall. Mayor Patrick Brown spoke at the city's weekly news conference about the number of frontline essential workers who work, live, or both in Brampton.
The unique challenges that big cities face, where there is greater population density and a huge abundance of essential workers. And it gave me the chance to highlight really Brampton's strength right now in helping Canada's supply chains. We have 11,000 people working in transportation logistics, 8,500 people working in food processing, not to mention a large medical technology and medical laboratories sector and an abundance of healthcare workers. And so, frankly, we need to thank these unsung heroes. These essential workers, they don't have the choice to go into work. Some people can work from home. These folks go into work without flinching, without hesitating, knowing that they're taking on an important role for the city and the country. And for that, I think we all should be grateful.
So where are we with compliance? Mayor Brown with good news on that front.
Numbers continue to go down in terms of bylaw infringements. We really are seeing a broad level of compliance in Brampton.
In a moment, in terms of health issues, the now is well looked after. But Mayor Brown continues to have concerns about the commitment and investment in healthcare in Brampton on the part of the province. More on that coming up on the Brampton Now Update.
This is your invitation to hear our stories, to engage in our traditions, and connect with our history. Connections as varied as the land. Come experience our country's heritage. Find and book your authentic Indigenous experience at indigenous-canada.travel.
I'm Bruce Marshall, and this is the Brampton Now Update. So hopefully, with the measures taken at the city, region, and province, we can keep from overtaxing healthcare in Brampton with another wave of COVID-19. But we don't get the same investment here in healthcare. Brampton sees less provincial money for healthcare than the Ontario average. Mayor Brown on that.
We need to see Phase 2 immediately committed to, Phase 2 of Peel Memorial. That will give us some additional capacity right away. And we need to start the process of a new hospital. The city has already purchased land for this purpose in the northwest of the city. It has to happen because people deserve the same quality of healthcare everywhere they live in the province.
The region of Peel will resume battery recycling. Batteries have been picked up curbside now for a couple of years, as well as being taken at the region's recycling centers. The chemicals in batteries, of course, contaminate landfill sites. The region recycles them properly, and new this fall, the region is now taking rechargeable batteries. We're having to change our habits in so many ways, most not ways that we want to. Well, here's one that may be welcome. The Nature Conservancy of Canada recommends that you leave those leaves where they fall. No more raking, the organization says. Leaving the leaves is better all round for the environment and your lawn. Think of the time you'll save not raking leaves that you can spend baking more bread, maybe. In a moment, what's ahead in Brampton this weekend and this coming week? Plus, ahead, my Marshall Rant, here on the Brampton Now Update. You're watching Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall. This weekend and ahead in Brampton, Brampton Farmers Market is Saturday. Details of the market and protocols at brampton.ca. The last market day is coming up on October 24th. The Downtown Brampton BIA hosts a Taste of Brampton starting October 15th. A Taste of Brampton showcases all that's good to eat in downtown Brampton, whether you eat in or take out. And our choice for the next little while is going to be taking out. Go to tasteofbrampton.ca. Doors Open Brampton has gone digital. Explore more than 20 unique places in Brampton from the comfort of your home for digital Doors Open until October 31st. That's at brampton.ca/doorsopen. The Journey Neighborhood Centre, with 2 Brampton program locations, opened a thrift store in downtown Brampton. Journey Thrift is on Nelson Street near the YMCA. Brampton Music Theatre has cancelled an upcoming production outright. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat has now unfortunately been cancelled due to COVID-19. Brampton Music Theatre continues a fundraising contest called Catch the Ace. It's at bmtcatchtheace.ca. BMT also continues online training programs and concerts on their website at bramptonmusictheatre.com, or you can like them on Facebook. Coming up, the Marshall Rant. What now? Are we sliding back with COVID-19? That's coming up on the Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall, and this is the Marshall Rant. Many people were shocked at the announcement from the province about a modified rollback to Stage 2 in Peel, Toronto, and Ottawa. But the writing was on the wall. Some are outraged that this has happened again, but it's totally expected. This is what happens during pandemics. There's no Hollywood ending. It appears we're at the beginning of at least a second wave, totally predicted. Also, unlike a Hollywood movie, things change. Some stuff does a complete 180, but our health authorities are always learning. Take masks. At the beginning of the pandemic was the advisory that masks didn't work for the average person, and that was the truth up to that point. Objective research on the effectiveness of masks proved them to be of little benefit. But the widespread use of masks in some cultures gave new, updated data. Apparently, in a different kind of study, the case study of entire nations that used masks, it was found that they were of great benefit. So the wisdom changed on that, informed by new data. Nobody did a 180 or was trying to confuse people. New data informed the conversation. We can be forgiven if people in authority, people who should know better, say things like,
ultimately, the goal is to ease the guidelines and open things up to very large sections of our country as we near the end of our historic battle with the invisible enemy. I said earlier today that I hope we can do this by Easter.
We can be forgiven for being confused when people in authority call for hope in miracles.
It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear.
So, just to be clear, it's not going to be over by Easter. And it's not going to disappear one day like a miracle. It may disappear, but that would be due to dogged, determined, and costly work by human health agencies at every level of government, from the local health department to the World Health Organization. So we did a good job with the first outbreak of COVID-19. Here, in Canada anyway, we've had broad compliance, but we have to continue that for some time, maybe even for years. Any expectation that we'll be going back to normal is just not realistic. In some respects, we'll never do things the same way again. So until a vaccine is discovered, we are at the mercy of our own stupidity. I know some have suggested that what observing precautions does is make you afraid. That's nonsense. Being cautious and doing what authorities suggest is just being smart. I cross the road at the light not because I'm afraid of the traffic, but rather because it's the safe, smart thing to do. You'd be a fool to cross in the middle, but some do. So steady as she goes with this fight. As Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown observed in a clip earlier, people get it now. We have broad compliance. We just have to keep at this. These really small asks of society really need to be maintained. And we'll write the book on handling health crises like this. What do you think? Leave your comments below or get back to me. I'm Bruce Marshall, and that's it for this week. Please subscribe to the Brampton Now Update channel on YouTube or follow #MarshallMinute on Facebook for lots of Brampton need to know that you won't find anywhere else. Your comments and suggestions are always welcome, and if you've got a Brampton story to tell, get in touch with me through the channel you're watching on right now. Stay strong, Brampton. Brampton strong. We're all in this together. I'm Bruce Marshall. Thanks for watching Brampton Now Update.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.